Our trek into the desert begins with a camel ride. My partner and I, together with our travel host, Tracey, are now about to enter the Erg Chebbi sand dunes of Merzouga in Morocco. Now, this is actually the first time we've ridden on a camel, so this experience is something we'll never forget. By the way, a headscarf, sunglasses, and sunscreen is a must because it is very hot. The headscarf and the sunglasses protect you not only from the sun, but from the warm sand being blown by the wind. So this is not only an accessory, but this is also a necessity. Now, seeing the desert landscape for the first time in my life is simply astounding. Not to mention how the light of the setting sun adds a very warm glow to the already hot landscape, and this is like 360 degrees. It's a very overwhelming, sensory experience. The image of this will be burned in my head for the rest of my life. Now, right before sunset, our camel guide actually stopped in one of the spots along the sand dunes where we could watch the sunset behind one of the peaks, and it's a very beautiful image that I can still see in my head. And one other thing, I was very grateful for this pit stop because it's very exhausting to be riding on top of a camel for like almost an hour, and I also needed to drink some water because it was very, very hot and we needed to rehydrate because heat stroke is real, so we had to be very careful. As you guys can see here, the contrast between the colors between the very blue sky and the very warm color of the sand is quite remarkable, and I like the way that the sun adds highlights into the sand dunes. It's quite a very amazing image that I will never forget. It bears repeating. Now we have arrived at our desert camp, and it's called Desert Camp Merzouga. And there are actually a number of desert camp tours here, wherein you can choose between budget, mid-range, and luxury. So it all depends on your liking. Now there are bungalows here, and the camp actually has carpets lined across it, and it makes quite a beautiful pathway, which makes me feel like I'm in some sort of like a movie set. But anywho, just before checking into our rooms, my partner and I actually went and sat atop one of the sand dunes, and we just watched as the sky changed colors because I've never seen something like this in my life before, and these types of experiences I don't think I will ever experience again in my life, and I'm just quite grateful that I am here with my partner and we are able to experience this together because we've been wanting to do this for the longest time. So I'm so grateful for this. And now I think it's time for us to check in into our bungalows. So let's go together, okay? Oh, and one trivia, from where we stand is actually a little bit over 20 kilometers to the border of Algeria. So it's that close. Now, our bungalow actually is a triple, so it has a double bed and one single bed, which is great for families and friends. And by the way, there's a very wonderful, beautiful ceramic bowl here as a wash basin, which is actually beautiful. I wish I could bring one home, but alas, it's too heavy. And there's also a shower here and a toilet, so all of the modern necessities that you need in order to survive being in the desert at this time. So now we're just going to be preparing for dinner, and I'm just going to show you how the desert camps look like when night has settled. Now, right after dessert, I actually was not expecting for a drum beat musical performance, and I was so surprised by it. And I love tribal sounds like this, and this type of musical experience just makes it even more authentic. Now, in terms of dinner, I wasn't able to take any videos at all because, as you guys can see from the quality, it's getting a little bit pixelated. But yeah, so as I've said earlier, there are a lot of different desert camps around, and they also have the same performance for their guests. Now, I only realized this because after dinner, my partner and I went back to where we sat atop one of the sand dunes, and when the lights were low, there was no more light from the sun, and it was very dark, and all we heard was all these drum beats emanating from from the different desert camps around the sand dunes. So it was a very, like like the hairs at the back of my head were actually racing from the sensory experience. And of course, coupling this with seeing all the lights from the stars in the sky, I was even able to see the Milky Way for the first time in my life ever. So again, this memory will be forever seared into my brain. Now, after the musical drum performance, the crew actually invites you to join them in, creating drum beat music. And I am not shy with these types of things, and it's actually a very wonderful experience to be part of the local culture of being in the desert. So I do suggest that you also do this. Do not be shy when they invite you to come and join in. You'll never forget it. It is now time for us to bid the desert camp goodbye. It is now the next day, and we've already had breakfast, but it was just too dark because we woke up quite early to watch the sunrise, but unfortunately it was too hazy. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be heading back to the camels because we're going to be inching our way to Marrakech to continue on our journey. So I'm gonna bid you guys goodbye now. I hope that you guys enjoyed me showing you our desert adventure. And if you have any more questions on how to get here to Erg Chebbi in Merzouga, Morocco, who to contact and who to be with, please let me know down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. So I'm gonna let you guys go now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye!